Welcome to the Data Hall YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to discuss how do we fill gaps in a panel data or a time series data using R. So I'm going to work with the Tidyverse package and the Zoo package in this video. If you haven't installed these packages, you can install them using this line of code. So I have already installed them, so I'm just going to load these packages, the Tidyverse package and the Zoo package. So let's work with the filling gaps in a time series data. Let's say we have a time series data over here where we have different years and then there are certain missing years. For example, over here we can see that year 2015 is missing, and then we have year 2019 and 20 is missing. So how do we fill these gaps? So first thing is that we need to generate a placeholder that can have explicit missing values. So if you are familiar with what implicit and explicit missing values are, I have already made a video on that. I would give that link in the description. So if you haven't watched them, do watch it and you'd understand what explicit and implicit missing values are. So one way of doing it is to use this sequence, and what we can do is we can generate these sequence of years. For example, we can start with year 2010, take the time series data, take the year column, take its minimum value and maximum value, or give it a sequence, and that sequence is generated would have these years only, right? And what we can do is we can take this time series object and merge it with the time series years that we have created, right? And we merge it by year. And that way, once we are done, we would have this full series that would contain all the years, because we had all the years generated from the sequence function, and now we have merged them using the merge function. Now this full series do contain year 2005 and 19 and 20, but their values are missing. But what we have done is we have converted these implicit missing values into an explicit missing value, and now we can use certain functions. Either we can isolate or use some other functions to fill these missing values. So I would just give you an idea of how do we work with isolation. We can isolate, take the full series data, mutate this GDP growth, which is already there. It would replace. Now from Zoo package, we are using to do NA approximate, so that is used for missing value approximation. And if I can show you the full series, now we have the missing value had been replaced using certain isolation method, right? How do we fill these missing values if we have a panel data? For this, we are going to first load the TS build package. Now this is similar to table package, but it is for the time series or panel data. So I have already installed it. I'm just going to load this package, and I'm just going to create a data table that would contain a panel data. We would have different firms, their different years and stock prices, right? We have 3 firms, their stock prices and years data. Let me show you this panel data. This is how it looks like. Now there are certain missing values in this panel data, right? So for example, for firm 2, the data starts from 2005, but for firm 1, the data starts from 2010. So there is the rest of the years are missing, and there are some missing values in between these years. For example, for firm 2, we do not have year 2014. So these are again implicit missing values. How do we convert them into explicit missing values and fill the values? So one way of doing that is to use fill gaps function. We take the panel data that we have just created, but rather we would first have to convert it into a table. So it is currently a data frame. We would have to convert it into TS bill. What we do is we take this panel data frame, tell this function requires that we need to tell them what is the key, it is the firm in this case, and what is the index, which would be any time variable, because panel data contains a cross-sectional variable and a time variable. So we specify the cross-sectional variable into the key parameter and the time variable into the index parameter. So if I execute this, it would do nothing, but it would just convert it into a different class object, right? It would look still similar to the panel data that previously we had, but only the internal structure of this this panel underscore data is different. Now what we do is we use the fill underscore gaps function, take the panelist data that we just created and do the full equal to true. That would mean that all the missing values would be now become explicit. So if I can show you this missing panel, now you can see that we didn't have 2005 till 2019 in case of Form 1. Similarly, we didn't had year 2012, 13, 18 and 19 in case of Form 1, and there were other missing values in other. So now we have converted these implicit missing values into explicit. What we need to do is we need to fill them. We can fill them using this fill function. So take this missing panel data, group by firms, fill stock prices, and the direction should be down up. What that means is that in cases where there is a value preceding the missing value, it would move downwards. If there are cases where there is no preceding value, it would take this the next value and fill it upwards. That is what the down up would do. Again, let me show you the down up. So because we didn't had all these values, these were missing, it took the succeeding value. But in case of other data where we didn't had preceding values, we took succeeding values, right? What if we did just down? What would happen? Let me show you this thing, and let me show you the data. Now in this case, I told R that just to replace it with the preceding value. Where there was no preceding value, it still remains the missing value. Last thing is, how do you fill these missing values? Using some tidyverse function. So for tidyverse, we have this fill. So this complete function, we tell it what the firm variable and the year variable is, and replace these with the missing values, convert these implicit missing values into explicit missing values. Now this is how it would look like. And lastly, we can convert those explicit missing values into certain meaningful values. So in this case, I'm just going to replace them with 0. And let me show you this panel data. And now we have these zeros over here. So I hope this video was useful. Do subscribe to this channel, do hit the bell icon, and thanks for watching this video.